Angela is a maid in the house of Hans. Hans has been a very good boss to all his domestic staff, including Angela and the gate man. As things went on smoothly, one day Angela got an accident in the house, and this led to her being unable to do all the cooking and cleaning in the house. So she suggested that she is going to give or bring in her best friend. But before that, she talked to Hans about it. Immediately, Hans agreed and said she can bring her friend as far as she is capable and diligent with her work. Angela promised that her friend is very good with things like this, and she is also educated, unlike her. This was a good laugh for Hans. Bam Bam came into the house, and she was introduced by Angela to Hans. Hans saw that Bam Bam is a very educated young lady, welcomed her into the house and assured her that this place is a safe space as far as she do her work diligently. Bam Bam promised to be on her best behavior and do as she is told. Angela also reassured Hans that her friend is very good at things like this. Angela and Bam Bam went to their room and were so happy that they are both together once again and working in the same place. Bam Bam thanked her friend for this great opportunity and promised to be on her good behavior. Angela also went on to tell her that her boss, or their boss, is a very good man, so all she has to do is do all the things he's been asked of them to do. After everything has died down, Angela got a call from the village that her mom is not feeling well, so she told Hans that she will be leaving to the village for a couple of weeks. Hans gave her some money to give to her mother. Next day, Angela packed her things and left. Before leaving, she told Bam Bam to be on her best behavior and do all the right things in the house. Bam Bam promised to do exactly that, and Angela left for the village. Hans came back from work one day and saw what Bam Bam was wearing and suggested that the clothing are too old and too old-fashioned, so he will be buying some things for her. The next day, after work, Hans came back with a lot of clothing and accessories for Bam Bam. Bam Bam at first was thinking the things belonged to some other woman, and Hans told her that these things are for her. Bam Bam was so shocked and happy and took all the clothing to her room, tried them on, and they looked so fashionable and beautiful. She was so happy, and in that evening, she prepared some beautiful, delicious delicacy for Hans. Hans was happy to eat them and was also happy to see his domestic staff as happy. Few days afterwards, the gateman noticed how close Bam Bam and Hans were. Immediately, he was suspecting that his boss was into Bam Bam. The gateman asked Bam Bam if she is dating their boss. Bam Bam immediately shut it down and told the gateman to keep quiet, that their boss is just being generous and kind to her. There's nothing going on between them. Again, gateman did not believe it and joked around with things like that. Bam Bam warned him not to speak of their boss like that, in that light, because he's just a generous boss and there's nothing to it. Angela called Bam Bam to hear if everything was going on smoothly. Bam Bam assured her that things are going on smoothly. Asked of her mom, and she also said her mom is doing fine or better now. Angela said she'll be coming back soon. Bam Bam said their house is peaceful, and whenever she is back, she has a lot of gist to give her. Bam Bam got to have a very good conversation with Hans and told Hans that she is really ready to go back to school, but because of financial reason, that is why she is doing this job to gather some money to continue her education. Hans immediately said he will help her continue her education. At this point, Bam Bam was shocked to her knee, kneel down and thank her boss. Hans said this is nothing. As far as she's willing to do the right thing, he will always be there to support her. A week later, Angela came back from her trip and noticed how Hans and Bam Bam are so close. Angela did not understand what was going on. Bam Bam and Hans were eating on the dining table and were sharing similar jokes. Angela looks lost and now was thinking that her best friend is trying to date their boss. Also, in this process, she started being mean to Bam Bam. Bam Bam confronted Angela and asked if there was any problem. Angela lied and said nothing, but she continued being mean to Bam Bam. Hans was also noticing how the two friends were fighting, called them to order and asked if there is anything wrong with their friendship. Angela said nothing. Bam Bam also said nothing. At this point, the two best friends were not in talking turn, even in the house. This was affecting how they were working in the house. Bam Bam realized that she doesn't want to jeopardize everything she has with Angela, and so one day she wrote a letter to Hans and told him that she is leaving the house and she has been able to make some savings and will be able to rent an apartment and get another job. This came as a shock to Hans and asked Angela if everything was okay. Angela continued to say yes, everything was okay. Weeks later, Bam Bam luckily got a serving job in a restaurant where she was working. Hans one day called Angela into his room and was trying to have a good conversation with her. As the conversation was going on, Hans told Angela that he has something to ask her. Angela at this point was thinking that Hans was going to ask her out, only for Hans to tell Angela that he is planning on proposing to his girlfriend and he does not know how to plan it and go about it. At this point, Angela was shocked and was thinking, what was this all about? Hans immediately mentioned the name of his girlfriend and it was not Bam Bam. Angela pretended to be happy for her boss and went to her room and now had to retrace her steps and realized that she read everything wrong. She read all the situation wrong. She read and judged her friend wrongly. At this point, she regretted her action. Tried to call Bam Bam severally but could not get through with her. Angela went to Hans and asked if he has heard from Bam Bam. At this point, Hans was confused because he knows that Angela and Bam Bam are close. This was at the point where Angela opened up to her boss and told Hans everything. So Hans was so shocked and so disappointed in Angela as to why she could think that of her friend. Angela apologizes and Hans tried to call Bam Bam severally until she picked and told Hans where she worked. Angela took the location the next day, went to the restaurant, tried to speak to Bam Bam. She refused until she listened. They had a deep conversation. Angela knelt down and apologized to Bam Bam on judging her wrongly, despite how close and trustworthy she has proven her loyalty and friendship to her. Bam Bam was disappointed and thinking, how would she think that of her? Thinking that Hans was not into any of them. At this point, Bam Bam was also shocked and asked why does she think that. Then Angela confessed that Hans is planning on proposing to his girlfriend. At this point, this was a shock to both ladies and they laughed about everything. Next day, Hans invited Bam Bam to the house whilst he introduced his girlfriend to both Angela and Bam Bam. Before that, he continued to give alms to Angela for her education. Thanks for watching this recap. This channel brings you the best Nollywood movies. We save you time and money. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos for more movie recaps.